Hi, this is Don Perkins, and I'm here with Christopher Penn, who is Director of Strategy with WhatCounts, provider of email marketing solutions. And we're going to talk today about some business ideas, some sales and marketing things that will hopefully be helpful. So how's it going, Chris?
It's very, very busy.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking the time today.
No problem.
I was reading your blog the other day about winning the zero moment of truth, and I found that a very compelling concept. You think you could walk us through that?
Sure. So it's actually, I'm actually in the middle of rewriting a whole bunch of life cycle stuff myself right now. Zero moment of truth is an idea that Google came up with in 2010. I think it was Jim Lachinski came up with the idea. Back in 2005, Procter & Gamble came up with this idea. There's two moments of truth. The first is when the customer's sitting at the point of purchase and they decide, okay, I've got 8 choices, 8 brands, which one's for me? I pick that one. That's the first moment of truth. The second moment of truth is when the customer takes the product, they own it, they use it, and they either go, it fulfilled the promise of the brand, or it didn't fulfill the promise of the brand, one of the two. And Google said there's a zero moment of truth now, where you pick up a mobile device of any kind, and you start researching. You research in the store. You're in Target or whatever. You're looking at the shelf. You pull out your phone and you say, okay, what are the reviews on this? What do other people say? What does it sell for on Amazon? And that can greatly change what happens with commerce, because the consumer no longer has to sit there and go, okay, I'm standing at the store, which of these items on the shelf should I pick? And I'm like, no, I can check with my phone. I can check with my friends. I can ask them on Twitter right on my phone, on my mobile device. And so what we were saying is that at every point through this, there's an opportunity to use email to reinforce these moments of truth. So from the moment a customer becomes aware of a need, that's a stimulus. Okay, you can be there if you've done a good job building a relationship. You want to. Chris Brogan calls it be there before the sale, so that you're always top of mind. And while they're doing their research, if you have the ability to track things like behavioral conditions in your email, someone clicks on a link to a product of yours and say, okay, this person is exhibiting more interest than the average subscriber on our list. Let's put them into a separate auto-response campaign, and you can win the zero moment of truth by saying, we know you're investigating a new smartphone. Here's all the different choices that are out there. Here's some popular reviews. Here's this, that, and the other thing. Then at the first moment of truth, you can still be there. You can still say, hey, we've got a sale going on about this, either at the end of the auto-response campaigns or as a separate campaign. And then even at the second moment of truth, you can have email be a part of that by saying, okay, you've bought the product, you like it, tell us what your experience has been, share it on our Facebook page, share it on Twitter or whatever. But really the biggest opportunity for most businesses is that zero moment of truth, because Google in its study, let's see if I can actually find the PDF here. In its study, actually had a heat map of where influence takes place in the process. Here's what automotive looks like, and sort of people 4 to 6 months out start thinking about, I want to buy a new car, and they start doing research. How influential is a search engine, for example, or and then they start to make decisions, and then pretty much right around the the 1 month mark, they said, I'm getting a Mustang or a Prius or something, and that's that. If you look at some of the other things, though, like insurance here, for example, you see there's a great deal of influence and people going back to search engines over and over and over again saying, I'm researching, getting cold feet, researching some more, getting cold feet. And this, as an email marketer, is where you should be plugging your email in to say, okay, we need to be sending email here, 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 and here, so that as someone has doubts or questions or second thoughts or whatever, or they see a commercial with a quacking duck on the television, our email should be there to assuage those fears and guide people in the right direction.
So they don't pop out of the funnel.
Exactly.
Else, right?
Exactly. And the funnel, actually, when you think about it, this really messes with the funnel, because in a lot of cases, it's assumed that. And this goes back to some pretty old marketing history. Back in 1898, a guy by the name of E. St. Elmo Lewis came up with the first marketing funnel, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. And it was assumed that people just move through it linearly. I've caught your attention. I build interest, I inspire desire, and then I get you to buy. Well, what's happening with a lot of this stuff here is that we see that, especially in those first two phases, attention and interest, they're not linear. You may be interested in something, and something else may capture attention. as you're searching online for, I don't know, an insurance policy, you'll be at one brand, and you'll go back and you'll see another brand. There'll be a review about a third brand, and people will be bashing them on Facebook, and so it's not a clean flow anymore. It's a big mess up front.